Mm.
Can you see him on? It's not letting me. Oh, he did. It is letting me. Okay. Good morning, everybody. We're just waiting as more people log in, and then our speaker is going to be logging in, and then there he is. Temitope, I see him logging in.
Okay.
Yeah. And we are also live streaming and good to go.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Jesus.
So yeah, thank you very much for coming here this morning. We are going to have Constable Abdil present the program as the topic is you and the law. And as always, our facilitator will be Mr. Temitope. Mr. Temitope, over to you. Thank you.
Yeah. Good morning. Thank you so much once again, Elvis, for putting this together and always being, on ground to help us navigate through these meetings. Thank you, Pastor D and the team at Ruth House for the wonderful job you're doing. Temitope Olukunle is my name once again. I'm a community volunteer. I'm a mobile mortgage manager with Savos Credit Union, the biggest credit union in Alberta. Mortgage is all I do. Financing is all I do, hand to hand when it comes to your home and you. But one of the reasons why I always like to share this every time is I love doing what I do here because people matter. We need to show that we care about our people, and it's not just about what business we can make out of them, but how we can also impact their lives beyond what we do in our respective spheres. And without much ado, I will be going straight into this and introducing our speaker this morning. We're having the law and you this morning. That's the topic for this morning's session. We do this every month, and we're having Constable Abdi Hassan from the Calgary Police Service. He's going to be here this morning with us, and he's going to be answering and demystifying some of the myth that we have about the police, and also enlightening us about things that we need to know. So this morning, I encourage each and every one of us to keep an open mind. We are here to learn, relearn, and unlearn. There are things that we need to learn again. There are things that we need to do away with, and there are things that we need to learn anew. Okay, so please feel free. Ground rules. We encourage each and every one of us to make use of the chat room. Feel free, post your questions, and we will be able to get the questions from there so that our guests will be able to do justice to those questions. There is no foolish questions. We want all the questions asked, and be rest assured that we will get the answers to them. This session is being recorded, so please let's make the best out of this and be ready to learn from each other. It's going to be very short. We are not going to go 1 minute over the stated time today because, Constable seems to have some other engagements after now. Okay, I'm getting a message that he's still having
some challenge logging in and hearing him, but he's fine. I'm on the phone with him.
Totally, that's fine. So while we're waiting for him to get back, so that's not peculiar to him. I had the same struggles this morning. It took me like twice. Technology is not our friend this morning. Twice before I was able to get access. So we're going to get through that. While we're waiting for him to come on board, we're just going to do like a quick, interactive piece to get us going. And please, I'm encouraging each and every one of us to go into the chat right now. What's our perception about the police? Let's start from there. So if you can just in one word, when you hear police, what comes to your mind? Can you just drop something in the chat? What do you think? When you hear the word police, what do you think? One word. What does it mean to you? When you hear the word police, enforcement, Trevor, thank you so much. Enforcement, okay. Any other person? Security, that's good. Yeah, Missy, thank you. Okay, security, okay. Who else again? Let's go ahead. We have so many people in the chat this morning. We have so many people online this morning. Excessive force. Wow. Elvis says protect. Okay. Any other person? Please, let's go. Let's keep it coming. What do you think about the police? Nobody's judging anyone here this morning. This is where we're going to start from, and Constable Habdi is going to have to do justice by helping us through this. Okay, somebody says law enforcers, fear, yeah, safety. Police is your friend. I love that. Okay, what else again? Police is your friend. Okay, protection and righteousness. I love that. Helpers. Okay, beautiful. Any other person? Okay. Please keep them coming. You're still free to tell us what do you when you hear the word please, what comes to your mind? So, Constable Habdi, welcome once again. Thank you for joining us this morning. Temitope Olukunle is my name. I will be facilitating this session. I know we've had interactions.
He's still having technical issues with his.
Oh, okay. Oh, Trevor says traumatized. Dear Lord. Okay, I love this. Yeah, let's keep it coming. I'm going to tell us the reason why we're doing this. Okay, let's keep it coming. Any other word? Enforcement, security, excessive force. I think we have security a few times. Helpers, yeah, that's beautiful. Intimidating. Wow. That's hi, Constable. We can hear you. Good morning.
Perfect. Good. Good morning. I was just having a hard time. I don't know what's going on today.
Oh, okay. No worries. Technology is not our friend, so I was in the same shoes with you. And yeah, happy everything is now, okay. Thank you for joining us once again. Just to introduce, the session again. Like I said, Temitope is my name. I'll be facilitating this session, and we're having Constable Habdi Hassan over joining us from the Calgary Police Service, and he will be doing justice to some of the, questions and clarifications that we have regarding the police, regarding the law and our interactions with the law. One of the things that we were trying to do before Constable joined us, you met us, Constable, at a very good time. We were just asking everyone on the call this morning to tell us, when you hear the word police, what comes to your mind? And if you go through the chat, you will be surprised that we have varied answers. And the truth is, none of these answers would be wrong, because it's all about people's perception of things and all that. So nobody's judging anyone. And that's why we have you here to start from this point before you go to your presentation. We would like you to speak to some of these answers. So let me start. Trevor tells us that when he hears the word police, it means enforcement. That's beautiful. Yemisi and Jack says it's security. SIYS struggle is yours says excessive force. Constable Habdi, so we need to hear from you. Helvis says the word means protect, meaning when he hears the word police, he believes the word means to protect. Reno says safety. Elvis says again it means fear, terror, right? Adele says it's law enforcers. Yemisi says police is your friend with a very big smile. I'm sure she's had a very pleasant experience with the police. Chrissy says helpers. Demerfo says protection and righteousness. Trevor says traumatized. Samsung A11 says intimidating. And yeah, those are the responses that we got this morning. So Constable, we'd like to start from here because it's not so much about what you tell us. It's also about what people already have within them. And we need you to speak to some of this. I'm not going to give you like a guide on how to do it, but based on these responses, it tells you the perception of people about the police, people on this call this morning. And what do you have to say to this, Constable? And please, you can introduce yourself to us and help us do justice to this.
For sure. So yes, hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today on Saturday, actually morning. Thank you for taking your time out, first of all, to join us. My name is Abdi Hassan. Of course, I'm with the Calgary Police Service. I've been with the service for just shy of 13 years. Throughout my career, I worked in different roles, from patrol to prevention roles and community. Now I work in the diversity unit, which is community work that I do. Prior to my career, I was an Alberta sheriff. So all in all, I've been working in law enforcement for 16 years. I totally understand all those descriptions. Honestly, I could relate to them. Right? So for instance, me as a police officer, I'll tell you a personal story why I joined the police service. The reason why I joined was to make changes, honestly. So I used to hate the police. So I grew up in Ottawa, Ontario. Very neighborhood where police used to stop us for no reason, ask us questions and things like that. We felt like we were being harassed. Majority of the kids that I grew up with, of course, didn't turn out right because of those circumstances, and as well as feeling like everyone is against them anyways, right? I totally understand, 100%. I totally understand where people have those mindsets and things like that. The reason why I joined the police service was to make changes and to see. I didn't see a lot of people that look like me representing the community, so I felt like I would be the one that could make those changes, and I felt like I could be a leader in the community. So for me, stepping up and joining the police service, it showed that, one, gave me that understanding how there's always different perspectives. So there's a police perspective and there's a citizens, right? So police perspective, there's rules and regulations and guidelines and things like that that we have to follow. Of course, transparency is very important, and confidence with the community is very important, right? So from the community aspect, we see things from media, things that are personal experiences. If you have a negative interaction with the police officer, I could tell you a lot of negative interactions with police officers before I joined the service. For instance, I'll give you a perfect example. I went to Ontario to accept an award first week of November, and majority of the police officers, actually all of them, were from Ontario except myself. And I saw an Ottawa police patch. So you see how ours says the Calgary Police Service? I saw an Ottawa police patch, and that triggered me. That triggered how my mindset was. Even though I was saying hi to another police officer, it gave me those memories back on my feelings on growing up in those areas and being harassed by the police and things like that. And I feel the police are headed the right way. I think changes are being made. I think there's more transparency. I'll be honest with you. I feel there's more liability on the police. More if they do wrong, there's recognitions, right? So, for instance, just I believe it was yesterday where there was an officer that was fired for his conduct of taking that young black girl down, and so he got fired from the police service, right? So there's consequences for every actions, right? So at the end of the day, the police are the police. We're human beings, but we're part of the community, and we need to recognize we're part of the community and understand that, and as well the community needs to understand it's just a job, it's a role that we're playing, and it's not a power trip or a power that we have against another citizen. It's just any other job, just like a garbage man or a taxi driver or anything like that. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that wonderful perspective that you've shared with us, and I believe it's heartwarming for me to hear that things are looking the right way. And so, please, to everyone on the call this morning, I want to appeal to us so that we can allow Constable, go to the slides, do his presentation. Then afterwards, we ask the questions. Because of our time, we want to stick to time. 11 on the dot, we want to be done. So we're going to keep it that way. So please, as it goes through the presentation, please take note of your questions. You can drop the questions in the chat so that afterwards he's able to answer those questions. Thank you again, Constable Abdi Hassan, for that wonderful introduction and putting things in perspective. For everyone that have responded, your feedback is noted, but you have assurance this morning that, yeah, we're heading the right way. And thank you once again. And Constable, I'm going to be turning it over to you to take us through your presentation, sir. Thank you.
For sure. Hopefully everyone could see the slide.
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Can you see the slide? Okay, perfect. Yeah, because like my screen is the whole slide. So as we go through, so this is the You in the Law presentation. The You in the Law presentation is meant for newcomers. So newcomers to Canada to understand the police better and your rights as well as in Canada. So I already did my spiel on myself and who I am and what do I do. for all of our presentations, we like to acknowledge that we're in indigenous land. So we'll start off with this, and then we'll keep forward. So in this time of reconciliation, we believe it is important that we recognize we're in traditional Blackfoot territories and give proper recognition and honor to the original Treaty 7s of this land. This includes the Blackfoot Confederacy of Siksika, Kainai, Piikani Nations, as well as Tsuut'ina Nation and Stoney Nakoda people of Bearspaw, Chikini and Wesley Nations. We also want to acknowledge the Métis Nations of Alberta who share a deep connection to this land. Finally, we acknowledge everyone else who makes their home in Treaty 7's region of Southern Alberta. So for newcomers, we just like to let you know that here in Canada, although it's a multicultural country, the land is owned, majority of the land is Indigenous land. Indigenous people were here before settlers and things like that. So we like to recognize that we're in Indigenous land. This is all Indigenous land. So that is the acknowledgement that we do before our presentations. And we like to, in generally, do that for every function that we do. How many people in the class do you know, Elvis?
I can see 27 participants, 27 at the moment, but more are still joining.
Okay, for sure. So what we could do is we could just state your first name and where you're from and how long you've been in Canada. Whoever likes to share this, we can move forward. This just goes to show, one, it creates that rapport, and it goes to show that here in Canada, we're all coming from different places. This is a multicultural country, and so and it's very important to recognize that. So whoever wants to start, so I could just start myself. My name is Abdi Hassan. I'm originally, well, I was raised in Canada my whole life, but I'm from Somalia. It's my background. How long have I been in Canada? Pretty much my whole life. Anyone else?
Yeah, so my name is Elvis. I work here at Ruth House as a case worker. I'm from Cameroon and I've been in Canada for 12 years now. Yeah, so I started from Montreal to Fort McMurray, then to Calgary.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah, I can go. Temitope is my name. I'm originally from Nigeria. I've been in Canada for over 3 years now, 3 years and like 4 months.
Well, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, my name is Greg. I'm here in Toronto, GTA, and I've been in Canada for a couple of days from now will be 17 years.
Wow. Welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Adele. I'm from Cameroon. I've been in Canada since July 2022. I'm a student. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
Constable, you also have some people like on the chat introducing.
Yeah, for sure. So like, for instance, if anyone wants to share out loud, they can, but if not, they could just type it in on the chat as we go.
Hi, my name is Serge. I'm from Rwanda. I've been here since September 2021. So that's 2 years.
Wow. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Fobete from Cameroon, 16 years.
Hey, Fobete. Just letting you know, Fobete and I have worked together for a while. Thank you.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Jacques Temgo. I'm from Cameroon. I've been here for about 5 years already, but here in Calgary about 1 year and 6 months.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Natalie. I'm from Cameroon. I've been in Canada for 11 years.
Welcome. Thank you. Cameroon is representing so far, so I think Cameroon's winning.
Yeah, we're winning.
Hi. My name is Sheila Mangui. Originate from Cameroon. I'm in Calgary. I've been here for 18 years.
Welcome. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ruth Abdel, SIYS. Good to see you, Constable Abdi. I'm from Sudan. Grew up in Canada all my life. About 25 plus years. Thanks.
Welcome, welcome. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sophie. Je suis au Canada depuis 10 mois aujourd'hui.
Okay, welcome. Thank
Hello,
you.
my name is Ike. I'm in Toronto. I'm from Nigeria. I've been in Canada for 10 months.
10 months. Welcome. Thank you for sharing.
Hello, my name is Trevor. I'm a settler here from Calgary, born and raised in Whitehorn. I've been here for 37 years, and Elvis has invited me to come today, so I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. Welcome. Well, if that's it, we'll keep it. We'll keep moving. So our overview. So in this presentation, normally is for people that are newcomers. Again, so for instance, people that are here from, let's say, a day or to like 5 years, and it's just to understand the Calgary Police Service a little bit better. So we talk about the Calgary Police Service, our roles and what we do. We talk about emergencies, when to call 911, the difference between calling 911 and the non-emergency line. We talk about the Charter rights and freedoms, the rights that people have. And then we talk about domestic violence, child discipline, traffic enforcement, traffic offenses, really, and then arrest and what arrest looks like here in Canada. Yeah, so these topics are our main topics that we talk about, but of course, people will ask many police-related questions. At any time, if you have any questions or anything like that, please ask away. Hopefully this audio will work. I don't know if it doesn't, please let me know.
Yeah. Is Constable still here with us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, we just want to
Did
be sure that you're still here.
the video work?
No, it didn't.
No, it did not.
Oh. Wow. Okay, that's why it was quiet. So it was a black screen, or did you see the images?
Just black screen.
Oh, that's weird. Okay. Okay, let's because I'm not the authorizer in this meeting, so it's gonna.
You have access, right? I can give you access to.
What I'm gonna do is I will leave this meeting and I'll come back to it, and the audio should work.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. Temi, so I think that while he's gone, you can just go through the chat. There were some people who introduced themselves on the chat. You can just read them out, just to acknowledge their presence.
Totally. Okay, thank you so much, Elvis, for that. We'll be waiting for Constable Habdi to join us back. Now we have more people on the call, and that's wonderful. We have, I think okay. So for everyone that joined after we started, so this is what happened before you joined. We introduced the speaker, Constable Abdi Hassan. He's been with the Calgary Police Service for quite some time now, and he's going to be our resource person today. And What we did was to ask everyone on the call to tell us what it means to them when you hear the word please. And if you go through the chat, you're going to see lots of varied answers that people gave, and our speaker demystified some of those things, making us to understand that there's now much more accountability on the part of the police, and things are looking in the right direction. So yeah, having said that, I would like to welcome Reno, Demefo, Sergey from Rwanda, Tendai from Zimbabwe, Elizabeth from Nigeria. Thanks for joining. Sulaiman from Nigeria. You've been here for 18 years. Wow, you're a veteran. Vivian, welcome. Samuel as well. Yeah. Welcome each and every one of us you're welcome to this session. Promises to be exciting. Technology seems not to be our friend this morning for some reasons, but I'm sure we're going to get through this. Constable, are you ready to take over?
May I suggest something?
Yeah, Chrissy, go ahead, please.
I think when you go on the top there, to the right, the three dots, the ellipsis, when you click on it, it will say share sound. I believe that's what's missing.
Yeah, no, exactly. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
I
you.
can hear you.
The video should work now. Sorry. Hello, can you confirm if this video is working? Can you hear it?
Yes, it's playing, but no voice yet.
No voice. Wow, that's weird.
If you go to your share,
I did.
and then if you go to at the bottom of your share sound. If you go to share and then share sound.
Yes.
Click on share sound.
Yeah, perfect.
Technology today.
Yeah. I did. It should work now. Can you hear it?
Not yet.
Wow. All right. Sorry, I apologize. So I did the audio share. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just quickly try it one more time. I'm going to leave, come back, and then do the audio share, play it again, and then it should work. If it doesn't work.
Alternative. I would have suggested that if we have the link, we can try to just play it and maybe have somebody quickly share.
Yes, maybe they can send the link to Pastor D since he's controlling.
Right. I think that may be a better way to work around this.
Yeah. So I don't think we'll be able to do everything in 30 minutes. Probably we're just going to be able to extend it a little bit if he has time.
Okay. Sorry, can you see the presentation now? Still or no?
No, we can't see it.
Okay. I don't know. Out of all the days, it's not working today for some reason. Zoom is not cooperative.
Yeah, Constable, before you came back, we were suggesting maybe you can share the link so that we just try to play and see if it shows up or
Now?
something. That could help. We have the link. I can just make an attempt on this side and share my own screen as well. Maybe it's going to work. Elvis, did you see the suggestion in the chat? Elvis?
Yeah, can you guys
No, we still cannot.
can you see it now or no?
No, we cannot still. Are you able to share the link so that we just give it a try and try multiple options, see if any of this would work?
Oh my God. Hello, can you hear me? As soon as I say also share audio, share audio, share.
Elvis, are you able to mute?
Okay. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah, sorry, I apologize. This is not letting me because I'm not the administrator to run this. Yeah, so since I'm not the host, the host mutes the phone. The only way that you Hi, Elvis.
Hello, Elvis, can you help us mute that?
Yeah, so Elvis, since I'm not the administrator, what's happening is every time I try to share, if I try to share anything, it mutes automatically.
Hello, Elvis, are you still on the
Trying to
call?
share the presentation.
Yes,
and it mutes.
we're meeting them.
So
Just
as soon
give
as
me a
I
moment. Yeah,
share,
sorry.
see the presentation now.
Please, can everybody mute? There's a lot of background noise.
Can you see the presentation?
Officer Abdi, I think none of us. Officer Abdi, I think none of us can see the presentation, but I think if we can just have a meaningful conversation through Ruth's house.
Can anyone hear me?
And a discussion, that would be great.
Constable, you can go ahead, sir. We can hear you.
Hi, Elvis. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
I can hear you. I can
Go
hear
ahead.
you. So they were just saying that we can go ahead without the video. We cannot hear you now. You need to unmute, I think. We cannot hear you at the moment.
Should we reschedule this to another day? It's only 16 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think the presentation, I don't know. It's been
Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Hello? Okay, can you see the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, let's just move on. Can everyone see that?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Sorry for the so the videos are not going to work. For some reason, I don't have permission and I cannot override certain things with it mutes me as soon as I try to share, especially with the volume. So the Calgary Police Service, what is our responsibility? So our main responsibility is to protect life and property, maintain peace and order. Peace and order means as in protest. So for instance, tomorrow I'm going to a protest. We have to make sure that the two sides don't get into confrontations. We have to make sure that people maintain that they don't block roads and do certain things. And we try to negotiate with that, right? So we try to maintain peace and order in the city so that there's no chaos. Prevention and investigating. So we try to prevent crimes by patrolling our vehicles, by going to certain areas so that bad people don't do bad things. And then as well as when crimes happen, we like to investigate those crimes. As well as we enforce municipal, provincial, and federal laws. So those are the big things that we do. So for instance, if anyone does jaywalking or things like that, or is drunk walking in public, we give tickets for that. If someone's driving too fast, we give traffics under the provincial act. And then if it's a criminal matter, it's going to be the Criminal Code of Canada. We will arrest, or depending on the situation. All right. Move on from that. So the Calgary Police Service, we are a large service. We're about 23 to 2,400 members, so 2,300, 2,400 members. Out of all the members, we have about 110 different roles. So different roles means those police officers that drive those cars, that's patrol members. So that's one role. So we have about 110 different positions. One of the positions that we have is our tactical unit. So on the left-hand side, we have our tactical unit. They work in calls where it's more serious in nature. If there's gun calls or, things that are more dangerous, they have robots, they have equipments, they have bulletproof cars, which assist us in doing our job. The one right below that image on the left-hand side is our normal uniform, similar to what I'm wearing right now, minus the hats that they have. Usually they wear the hats around the stampede time where it's warmer and things like that. In the middle slide is our PACT unit, Police and Crisis Team. These are police officers and nurses that work together with people that have mental health issues. So people that need extra help. Maybe some of you take the trains and you run into people that need extra help because they're going through mental health problems or homeless issues. These individuals are the ones that are committing crimes. So the nurses will navigate and try to, navigate through the system. Maybe these individuals need medication, and the police officers are there for the safety purposes, just in case those nurses get hurt. Then we have the below that is the horse. So it's a mounted unit, we call it. You could say the horse unit. Police officers on horses, they help with protests. They help with finding lost people in large parks. So with their big horses, they go through the big parks and where police officers cannot go. On the far right side, we have our Calgary Police patch, similar to this. Okay, and then the badge. The badge is very important. Okay, so the badge identifies an officer. So those 4 digits that you see, 3408, those digits identify an officer. That's called the reg number, registration number. Okay, so as a citizen, you have the right to ask for that reg number. Say, for instance, you don't like how the police officer was talking to you, or what they said, or what they did to you. You could ask for that to identify them and complain about them on a later date. Or as a newcomer, what happens is sometimes, I'm not saying it happens often, but sometimes what happens as a newcomer is people like to take advantage of newcomers. So someone might knock on your door and act like the police officer and come and steal stuff from your house or whatever, to gain access. You as a citizen have the right to ask, if you don't feel that the person is a police officer, their badge number, and it also comes with an ID card. So the badge and the ID card will identify them. If you're not satisfied with that, you could also call the non-emergency line and confirm that there's a police officer here. I want to confirm that it is a real police officer, and go from there. So sometimes what happens is police officers will wear not a uniform, but they will wear just normal clothes, which will confuse things, right? So you have the authority to ask that as a citizen in Calgary. Right below that, on the right side, the far right, is our graduation uniform. Now, the Calgary police also have neighboring police services outside of the city. So if you leave the cities such as Chestermere, Cochrane, Okotoks, all these outskirts cities within the Airdrie, they are policed by what's called the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police are federal police, but since these areas are small towns, they don't have a police service, so the federal government has to step up and police those areas. These officers, their uniforms look like that on the far left side. That's their graduation ceremony uniforms, the red top and the yellow line on there. Their normal uniform is the one right below. That's how they normally look. So if you live in those jurisdictions, such as like Chestermere and things like that, it's not the Calgary Police Service. It's the RCMP that will come to your house. So whenever you need police, okay? Just to let you know about the jurisdiction. And in the middle, that's their patch and badge, and that's how it looks. The right side of the corner of the page is our Tsuut'ina Nation Police. Their uniform looks very similar to ours, just their patch is different. And they're a police service in the southwest corner of the city, just outside. It's an indigenous land, so they have their own police service. There's about 3,000 to 4,000 Tsuut'ina Nation members, the community members, and about 30 police officers that police them. So it's a small police service, but just letting you know, if you go to those areas, those are the police officers that you'll run into. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
Yeah, I think I do. So I will just, if you can just clarify at this point before you move forward, the relationship between the Calgary Police Service and the Tsuut'ina, right? Because I believe the Tsuut'ina Nation is still within, the Calgary axis kind of a thing. So how does it work?
Yeah, for sure. So Tsuut'ina Nation, because we're so close in nature, will have the same, they'll have our radios pretty much. So they'll listen to our calls that are coming in. So for instance, if anything is around their area and it's coming into their area, they will know about that. And vice versa, we will know about calls that are coming in. But we're a total different police service, Tsuut'ina Nation is hired by the Tsuut'ina Nation reservation there. So their police, they have their own police chief, they have their own supervisors and their own policing. So they answer to their own reservation, and they answer to the people of the community, not Calgary.
Thank you.
Okay.
I had one question.
For sure.
Officer Hassan.
Yes.
When you were talking about the PAC team,
yes,
and you were describing folks struggling with mental health and unhoused folks, it sounded to me like you were saying that they're the ones that are going to be committing crimes. Did you mean it that way, or did you mean something different?
No. So the pact unit, they assist. So they're called the police and crisis team. So it's a social worker, it's a nurse and a police officer partnership. Okay.
Yeah.
So they work with people that have maybe committed crimes, that have mental illnesses, and they may be homeless, they may be struggling with their mental illnesses because they're not taking their medication, and they commit crimes, and instead of going through instead of going through the justice system like a normal individual goes, and it's harsher because of their mental illness, we understand that, and so they might get a different treatment through the hospitals and things like that, right, without assistance.
Yeah.
So they're getting further assistance through the police and the nurse.
Okay. Yeah. That sounded like a better characterization than what I'd heard before. Thank you.
Yes. Sorry. Sometimes I speak sometimes I speak fast, and it might not come out. Sorry about that. All right. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, perfect. So there's other law enforcement agencies within Calgary, right? So we like to let newcomers understand which law enforcement agencies are in the Calgary area. So the Canada Border Services Agency, the CBSA, they're responsible for protecting, of course, borders and the airport. When people are coming in, is the first people that you see, say if you're traveling from a different country, they will ask questions to you and make sure that you are the one you have access to coming into Canada. Either you're Canadian or you're a landed immigrant, or you're coming in as a refugee, or your immigration status. They also deal with packages and shipments and things like that are coming into Canada. So they're making sure that that's safe. And as well, of course, as I mentioned, border crossings. So they do immigration enforcement as well. So for instance, if someone is being deported, it goes through the CBSA. Okay. The Alberta sheriffs, I actually used to work for these individuals when I was 21. They work in the courthouse. They're provincial peace officers that work in the courthouse. They transport prisoners from jails to the courthouse. They also do highway traffic. So they do provincial roads and enforce that. They also have a scan unit which shuts down homes that are like bad in the area. Either they're grow up homes or things like that, creating problem homes. So they have different kind of roles, and it's a growing law enforcement. So I could foresee them eventually becoming something like a provincial police service. We have the Calgary Transit. If any of you take the buses and the trains, you will run into these individuals. They're responsible for keeping the people safe, and then they also give tickets to people that haven't paid their fines or anything like that. Their tickets, sorry. They could also make arrest. They make arrest for warrants only. If it's a bigger file or a bigger case, assaults or things like that, they call us, and we are the ones that do the criminal code charges. Okay. And our last one, the Calgary bylaw, these individuals work for the city, and pretty much they work in parks, dealing with noise complaints, dealing with dog issues, things to that nature. Very importantly, when you're a newcomer, well, I'll quickly talk about it, is when you are a newcomer, make sure that you shovel your driveway and shovel your sidewalks, because you could get a ticket for that if you have too much snow. These individuals, the Calgary bylaw individuals, are the ones that give tickets out if your neighbor complains that the sidewalk hasn't been cleared for 72 hours. Okay. Does anyone have questions regarding any of that? Okay, move on. Okay, I'm just looking at time, so I'm gonna have to speed up a little bit because there's 3 levels of law. There's the federal, provincial law, and municipal law. So the federal law pretty much hits on the Charter Rights and Freedoms. I'll talk about the Charter Rights and Freedoms right after that. In a couple more slides, there's the Criminal Code, which is our book that it's a guideline that the police and the courts, from the Crown to defense, everyone goes by it. From the so then there's the provincial laws, which is our driving offenses, Gaming and Liquor Act, things like that, Cannabis Act. Then we have the municipal, which I talked about, the bylaw that deals with noise complaints, snow removal, transit, things like to that nature. So those 3 different laws, as a police officer, we could cover off all 3. We do the federal, we do the provincial, and we do the municipal. I will explain the Charter Rights and Freedoms a little bit more on the further slide. But one of the questions that we ask for newcomers is when to call 911. We like to know the difference between when you could call 911 and when to call the non-emergency line. So these are for the newcomers, not for Fobete and all these other people that are here. When should you call 911? Anyone? Have I been talking to myself the whole time?
No, we are here. We are listening to you.
Okay.
When there is any form of danger on the chat.
Yes. Yes. For instance, if there's a big event, like say a large crime, like for instance, yesterday there was a stabbing at a mall, a Market Mall. 3 people got stabbed. So something like that, when it's very serious, you see something like that, someone getting hurt. Some of this stuff is like a big car accident like this. Do you guys see these images?
Yes.
Perfect. So a large accident like that, a big fire, someone breaking into a house. These are the things that you need to call 911. So the difference between calling 911 and say, for instance, let's say you lost your wallet. You lost your wallet or you lost your purse. What would happen if you lost your wallet or purse? Would you call 911?
I don't think so, because I don't think you are in any danger. Maybe you can just maybe make a police report, walk into any police station and do a police report.
Yeah, for sure. I did this presentation the other day. Actually, it was yesterday. No, Thursday. So Thursday, I did this presentation. One of the ladies shared, she said, I lost my purse and it had my IDs in there, which had my passport and everything. So in that case, yes, you don't call 911, but you call the non-emergency line. You could see if there's video or anything like that. The officers could obtain that. But say if you lost your wallet, you could actually do an online report. So with the Calgary Police Service, you could do online reporting. Okay. Does anyone have any questions regarding that? So the non-emergency line is 403-266-1234. That's the non-emergency line. The non-emergency line means that it's not an emergency, that police could come at a later time and you could discuss these things and get more resources and information from a police officer. But 911 means I need the police officer right now. I need EMS right now. I need a fire truck right now. That's what it means. Okay. So EMS, emergency medical services, they're responsible for transporting patients, say if patients are sick or hurt or anything like that. They of course have training. Sorry, I'm echoing. Hello? Perfect. Yeah, so EMS, medical services, they pretty much transport patients. They have medical training to treat people for if they're hurt or breathing things and stuff like that. But then their job is to take that patient to the hospital where doctors and nurses could assess them even further. Okay. Calgary Fire Department. So sometimes if you have heart issues or breathing issues or things like that to that nature, believe it or not, a fire truck might come before the EMS. It's just because they may be closer, and they have similar medical services and items and stuff like that. So they could do first initial treatment, but they cannot transport anyone. So the only ones that could transport anyone to the hospital are EMS. Well, one thing about EMS is if anyone calls, like newcomers or anything like that, and is transported to the hospital, the Alberta government does bill you about $380, $390 or something to that nature, just for that transportation. And there's a reasoning behind that. The reason why is because people have abused the system where they call EMS on a daily basis. So to make it all around, they just charged everybody and saying, hey, if you use the services, it's going to cost you this amount. Okay. If you're a low income person, however, your caseworker or social worker could work with of course, the Alberta government, and you wouldn't have to pay that. Does anyone have any questions before I move on?
Constable, there is a question on the chat. I think Reno asked that, for example, if you call 911 when there is no emergency, are there any consequences or maybe fines or anything?
Well, it depends, right? So, for instance, you could actually get a $5,000 ticket if you're doing it on purpose. So there's erroneous calls, 911 calls. So some people, like for instance, there's a lady in District 2 that keeps calling police about 7-8 times a day for no reason. So yes, we understand that she has a mental illness as well, but she could get a ticket for something to that nature, calling police that many times for no reason, right? Because you're sending police there and you're using up resources when the police could be dealing with a real issue and a thing. So if it's by accident, like say for instance your little son or daughter that called police by accident, no, there's no charges for that. If you called the police because you think someone is trying to break in, but it was the wind, no, there's no charge for that. Do you get what I mean? But if it's on purpose, on a daily purpose, that you're calling police just for attention, yes, there's a ticket for that. Does that make sense?
We have, yeah, it makes total sense. We have Demefo's hand up. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask a question, please?
Okay, I want to know what happen if you think that someone is following you. Can you call 911?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if someone is following you, 100% call 911 and say, hey, I think someone's following me. I feel in danger. Yeah, police will try to come there as soon as possible. 100%.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. So we'll move on.
We have a struggle is yours. You want to go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question, please.
Yeah, Officer Abdi, thank you for the amazing presentation. I just got to go here, but I have a quick question about the use of excessive force. Most communities have noticed that the Calgary police use excessive force on our youth, on our children, on parents, that they do not use that they're innocent. And with Ruth House, that they focus on domestic violence, they do such a great job in advocating on these solutions. Sorry about that. My question would be, what is the Calgary, especially like a protest that is happening in the Middle East? What is the Calgary police doing to avoid excessive force in collaboration with children's services or anything like that? I think it's very important for all the communities to understand what is the Calgary police doing to avoid officers from using excessive force on our children, on our Black youth, on parents, and on African communities. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you. Great question. Honestly, Moose, so what the Calgary Police Service have done is a lot. So we're the first in Canada to have a body-worn camera. So the body-worn camera, just to show you, is a lot of transparency. So we have to have those body-worn cameras in policy. We have to have them on. So in regards to the protests, I was there. So there's backstory that people don't know. But of course, certain things make the news, right? So I was there. I actually seen what had happened. When people break the law, police officers have to enforce those laws. For instance, ask people to leave. If they have to, they will arrest them. Now, if people are physical with the police officers, they will be, of course, being charged, right? And they will have to, it looks bad when police officers have to take people down and arrest people, of course. But again, with us, we have body-worn cameras, and our body-worn cameras will tell the story of what really happened, okay? Just like you see people's cell phones and things like that. We also have PSS units, so professional standards, right? So police professional standards. That unit will investigate any wrongdoings by police officers. And if a police officer does wrong, they will get consequences for that. Either they're losing their job, or receive that they owe money, or lose a position out. So there's so many consequences for officers to be regulated and have to follow, really, right? So and as well, as I mentioned, the video will say everything, really, right? So so I think the Calgary Police Service, with the transparency with the video, goes a long way. It shows that we're ahead of majority of Canada. So if, for instance, this law, this protest thing that came out, all that information is going to come out. It's an active investigation, so I can't really talk about it, but everything will come out to light and say, hey, look, this is what really happened. Yeah. So sorry. I know that's not the full answer that you wanted, but that's what I have.
No, I think thank you for your answer, and I appreciate it, and I think it's very important as community leaders and organization to understand the law at its highest standards, and because most of us, what we hear on the news is sometimes we just follow the news. So whatever the news say, we use it against the Calgary Police, or we use it against other organizations, which is sometimes not true. But based out of your answer, it gives a lot of clarity, and I think the leaders here would able to ask these questions. I'm sorry if I opened a can of worms. That was not my intention.
No,
but,
not at all. No, and we hear these questions a lot, especially in today's world, right? So, for instance, tomorrow I'm working the protest as well, and I'm sure I'm going to hear those questions again and again. But that's the line. That's what we signed up for. And in law enforcement, honestly, there's a lot of scrutiny against us because of what's happening in the States and other places and stuff like that. But what I can tell you, in the Calgary Police Service, we try our best to be the public and gain that confidence from the public. And so it will show. The truth always comes out, right? So it will show if there was excessive force. It will show if there was wrongdoings. Just for instance, the chief regarding the wrongful arrest of those two youth straight up apologized, and we're trying to move on from it. Today I'm actually going to a South Sudanese event later today, and we were invited, myself, the deputy chief, and everyone else. It goes to show the relationship that we still have and that we continue to have with those communities.
Thank you so much, Constable Asen, for that wonderful response. Oluwole, do you want to unmute yourself and quickly go and let's have your questions, please? Hello, Oluwole.
Yeah. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I have two questions. The first one is, when can't you become a police officer? And the other one is, usually when people sue, like.
Sorry. Hello?
Hello, Oluwole, can you go over the question again? I think we lost you there. Hello. Okay, we're going to come back to you, Wole, maybe when the network is better.
For sure.
Heath, can you go ahead and ask a question, please? Eve, can you unmute yourself and ask your question? Hello? Okay, Constable Larson, maybe you go ahead with the presentation, and once they're back, we will take questions.
Okay, please, Adele, I'm having a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead and quickly ask your questions.
Yeah, please, what to do if we feel we are victim of racism? What's the action to take?
So yeah, for sure. If you are, so it depends on the situation. Like, so for instance, if it's work related, there's the human rights coalition. I think it's through the Alberta government. So the human rights department, they have you could complain about it. But if it's like real life, say for instance, if someone is calling you the N-word and throwing things at you or things like that, those are, if someone is saying certain words, those are hate incidences. But if they're throwing things at you or you feel threatened, that's an assault. So that's a police officer will come and could arrest that person. So you call the police in regards to that. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Okay, and Constable Hassan, Trevor asked a question in the chat. So his question is that there was an incident at the last protest of an underage racialized youth and a pregnant woman who received excessive force last week at the pro-Palestine protest. Is that the one you spoke about?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the exact one I spoke about with the excessive force. So in regards to that, honestly, it's an ongoing thing. What I could tell you is I was there, and there's a lot of things that the news didn't cover correctly. So these people were charged with an assaulting police officers by doing things.
Yeah, Oluwole, are you back? Okay, Eve, are you ready to ask?
I'm back.
Okay, please go ahead and ask the question.
Yeah, I said I have two questions. So the first question I asked was, when can't you record a police officer? That's the number one question. Then the other question is, when someone sues a police department because of an action of a police officer, at the end of the day, I realize that it's the city, if there's going to be any payout or anything, it's going to be the city that will be responsible for that. But my thought or my line of thinking is, why is the city being made responsible for somebody's action? Why can't they make this individual responsible for his own action. I think if that's the case, then a lot of police officers will be more careful when they are dealing with people.
Yes,
Thank
for
you.
sure. No. So the last question I'll answer first, and then we'll continue with that one. So the last question, in regards to suing and stuff like that. So yes, it depends on the situation. What could happen is, um, the person, the Calgary, like depending on the situation, the Calgary Police Service could get sued, and of course the city may pay up. Depending on the situation, that's not likely. That usually it doesn't happen like that. But however, you could also, there's also an option to sue the officer as well. So for instance, if you sue the city and then you sue the officer, you could personally sue the officer as well. Okay. Sorry, your first question, what was that again?
So the
Sorry.
first question was, when can you not record?
Oh, perfect. Yes. Yeah. So as a police officer, you could record a police officer anytime, really. So the only places you cannot record is inside of a police station. Okay, because in a public space, you could record as much as you want. I wouldn't suggest recording when a police officer is in their car, because there's information on his computer and things like that that they might not want you to see. But everything else, like say, for instance, as soon as a police officer steps out of their vehicle, you could start recording. It's a public place. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that helps. Eve, do you want to go ahead?
Yeah,
And
thank
please,
you.
everyone,
Yes, please.
Yeah, Eve, go ahead. And before you ask your question, just to keep it, let's throw our question in the chat so we can get this going. Because of the tech issues we had, we're trying to, we're going over the time, and hopefully we can work towards 11:30-ish for us to get this done. So Heath, go ahead, please.
Officer Update, thank you for coming this morning. From the law space, and normally in law we say innocent till proven guilty. And I want to make I have a concern with the incident that happened in Marlborough, where we have two young people who are supposed to be protected by the crown, being charged on the spot for murder. What really happened there? Because as new information is coming to light, we're learning that this shouldn't have happened. What really happened there? What should have happened better? And how can we stop this? Because at the end of the day, that 14-year-old has trauma to live with as far as being charged for murder on the spot, without investigation, without being even given a chance to get a lawyer and all that kind of stuff.
For sure. So what I could tell you is, yes, the Calgary Police Service was it was a wrongful arrest. What I could tell you is this individual. There's a lot of information that the public doesn't know. I do know the information. There's a lot of information that's not out yet, that will make more sense. But the police, as the police, we cannot share that information because it's an ongoing investigation through the actual person that did the crime. There's information that will make a lot of sense to the public, but the police cannot share. But what I could also tell you is this youth has been arrested multiple times for a lot of very, very bad things before. And my personal experience, my personal thought to this, yes, I do agree. It was a wrongful arrest. But what I can tell you is that with the Calgary Police Service, we want to work with the community. We like to, of course, have these conversations about how we could fix these issues. I came up with some awesome ideas in how the youth of the community could work with us, and by creating what's called like a youth initiative group, where the South Sudanese youth could tell the police on how to better do their job, and giving advices and things to that nature. The great thing about this, of course, the circumstance is horrible, but the great thing is that we continue to have a great relationship with the South Sudanese community. As I mentioned earlier today, I will be going to an event right after this with the South Sudanese community that invited us, and after even this event, they still want us there. It shows where the Calgary Police Service is and how we continue to do our job in creating that relationship with the community.
Thank you so much, Constable Hassan. And yeah, I think we'll allow you go ahead with the presentation, and yeah, we'll take more questions as they come. Thank you.
For sure. Okay, so when you call 911, different people will come. So, for instance, if there was a shooting, a police officer would be there. If someone was hurt, EMS would be there. If there's a large accident, all three would be there. The police officer would do the investigation regarding the traffic offense. If someone was impaired by alcohol or drugs, in case of cleaning up the roads, the fire trucks would come there and clean up the roads with their equipments. If there was debris or chemicals and things to that nature, and then the EMS would transport anyone to the hospital if needed. So it depends on the situation. When calling 911, what happens when you call 911 is there's a dispatcher, initial dispatcher, and that dispatcher will ask, is this related to fire, police, or EMS, right? So, and that individual will forward that information. Now, the one thing I ask is for you to be patient with this person because they will ask a lot of questions. But these questions are very important. And these questions go to the police officer or the firefighter or whatever in real time, meaning as soon as you say what you say, it will go to them as descriptions, things to that nature. Okay. So a lot of the times when people call 911, they're like, "Hey, no, just get down here right away," and then they're asking you questions, but they're asking you questions so that the police officer could see it on their CAD in their computer while they're driving towards you, saying this is the description of this person, this is what they did, this is this, so that the police officer could have a better understanding. Okay. The Charter Rights and Freedoms. The Charter Rights and Freedoms broken up to 7 main categories: fundamental freedoms, democratic rights, mobility rights, legal rights, equality rights, official language rights, and minority language education rights. So fairly quickly, fundamental rights pretty much means that you have the right to free speech. Really, you have the right to exercise your freedoms, such as your religion, non-religion, all those in nature here in Canada. It doesn't matter on who you are. Democratic rights means if you're a Canadian citizen, you have the right to vote in any election. You have the right to also be elected to any election, as in wanting to be in parliament or anything like that, to that nature. Democratic rights. Mobility rights. So if you're a Canadian citizen, you have the right to leave Canada as long as you want, move throughout Canada, or go in and out. So travel amongst throughout the world, really. It's the mobility rights if you're a Canadian citizen. Legal rights. So this rights is for everybody, right? So this right is meaning, as a police officer, we cannot just search anyone or do anything. You have the right to not be searched without reasonable grounds. You also have the right to say, for instance, if you're arrested, to speak to a lawyer before a police officer. You don't have to speak to a police officer, and those are your rights. Equality rights. This is for everyone. So everyone is treated equally, depending, it doesn't matter on who they are, if they're the prime minister or anything like that. Everyone here in Canada is looked at as equal, no matter what race, what nationality, what sex, what they are. Everyone is treated equally here in Canada. Official language of rights, meaning the 2 languages are English and French. These are the 2 languages that are used in Parliament. So that's what that means. And minority language rights is education rights is the same thing. The two languages that are being educated are through English and French. Okay. Does anyone have any questions regarding that? I'm just looking at the time. I think I'm gonna have to go a little bit quicker. Sorry, I apologize. So domestics. So domestics, they are very. They're our most common calls that we have, and most dynamic calls that we have. Um, Domestics, of course, affects all these people. So as you guys can see in the list, it could be anyone and everyone that is related to you in close net person, and that's who we consider as domestics. Domestics. What happens is if you or anybody in the Calgary Police Service, or sorry, anyone in general, um, if there's any assaults or things to that nature, what happens is that person will get arrested, taken before the courts, taken before a JP, which is like a judge online, and that judge will decide whether you should be released or not released. Okay. And there will be conditions on no contact, all these things to that nature. I'm sure Ruth's House, you guys are very, very aware of this. So I won't harp on EPOs and things to that nature. I'm sure you've covered that. Do you want me to cover it? Elvis?
Probably just briefly, because there are some people who don't know about APO. So just briefly, I think.
Okay, perfect. So an emergency protection order is a legal tool that is intended to protect against family violence. Okay, so pretty much EPOs are an order. It's a document given by Alberta Queen's Bench judge. So this judge will state that this person, if they are to violate these conditions, so the conditions could be similar to the release, contact indirectly or directly. So directly means I would call a person by the phone. Indirectly is through another person. Hey, I get my cousin to contact that person. Do you get what I mean? So if they are found guilty or breaching this, they go right to jail. Okay, and they speak before the judge. So these are orders for individuals that fear people, and it's for the extreme nature, it's for the extreme violence. So if you're experiencing domestic violence or anything such as kicking, hurting, if you're being intimidated, threatened, things to that nature, constantly being put down, feeling worthless, or this is for people that are elderly. If you're not getting your basic needs, or child, or anything like that, or you're not getting access to your own money, ask for help. These are things that you could ask for help. And as the police, we don't like to just come there and just to make arrest. We like to talk with people and figure out how to mitigate the situation the best way as possible. Now, if there's violence involved, such as hitting, there's bruising or things to that nature, honestly, as a police officer, we don't have that discretion. It's kind of like a black and white. So if there's violence, such as hitting, punching, threats, things to that nature, we have to follow that criminal code book again. That book, we have to follow it. And if we don't follow that, what happens is we get into trouble. We get disciplined for something to that, if we don't follow that. Okay. Child discipline. Child discipline under section 43 of the criminal code. If you're 2 to 12, you could hit that person under the bum, over the clothing, with hands only, no objects, and you cannot leave marks or bruises. Okay. So here in Canada, you can hit your child over the bum, over the clothing, hands only, no objects, and you cannot leave bruising or marks. Okay, does that make sense? Driving. Sorry, this video is not going to work, but driving, very importantly, when you're driving, you have to have 3 documents with you. You have to have your registration, you have to have your driver license, and you have to have your insurance. Those are the 3 documents that police officers are going to ask you. Now, if you don't have those 3 documents, those are tickets. For instance, if you, sorry, I apologize. For instance, if you don't have insurance, wow, that's a huge ticket. That's a $3,000 ticket. So if you don't have any insurance, I'm not talking about if you forget the pink slip. I'm saying if you don't have any insurance, it's a $3,000 ticket. Plus your car is towed for 30 days. So it's even gets more expensive. So if you forget your driver license, that's a $300 ticket. If you forget your insurance, I believe that's close to a $300 ticket. So make sure you have your 3 documents with you. Very, very important. Secondly, if you get stopped by a police officer, pull over to the far right. When you pull over to the far right, do not get out of your car. In other countries, what people do is they get out of their car to hand documents to the police officer. Here in Canada, we do not get out of our vehicle. Okay? Does that make sense?
And sorry, Constable Hassan, before you, on that particular point, because I've had people ask this question. So what's the reason behind saying don't get out of your car? I know, like you said, in other countries, people get out of the car, but is there a reason why that is the case here?
So here in Canada, the reason why we don't get out of our car, criminals, bad people will get out of their car to threaten a police officer with a weapon, shoot at a police officer. So that police officer is already heightened if someone gets out of their car. They're going to think that person is shooting. That's one. Two is you're still on a major road. You could get hit by a car. So the police officer will tell you right away to get back in the car. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So the police officer might think and will go for their gun and might cause a bigger problem because they think that you're coming out to threaten them with a weapon or shoot at them. Because that's what usually people that get out of their car do.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. So for driving, honestly, you get demerit points as you get 15 demerit points for 2 years. So for instance, if you are driving with your phone, you get 3 demerit points. So 15 in all demerit points is what a person has in total. So what happens is if they get 3 demerit points, they lose 3 out of the 15. If they lose all 15 in the 2 years, their license gets suspended. Okay. So you do not want your license suspended because if you drive with your car when your license is suspended, your car gets towed and your license gets suspended even more. And sometimes it could turn criminal if you continue to do that. Okay. So, yeah, that is driving. And then the last one, it's going to be arrest. So this video doesn't work either, but arrest. There's 2 types of arrest. There's the field officer release, and there's the one that you go to jail. Very simple. Field officer release means you get a piece of paper that states what you did. For instance, if you stole a phone or whatever, a police officer will write down the criminal charge that you did in the criminal code, will write down your court time and your fingerprint time. So if you agree upon that, you sign off, you get a copy, the police officer gets a copy, and it goes to the Crown. It goes to the office of the courts for the court disclosure. Now, if you don't go to court or your fingerprint date, if you don't go to that, that's a criminal charge. That's going to be called failing to comply. Okay, that's another criminal charge. So, which could cause further problem. Now, if you commit a crime that's serious in nature, let's say you stab someone or did something very bad, you did robbery or you even did domestics, you hit someone in your family or did something to that nature, you go right to jail. So we have our jail in Spy Hill in the Northwest near Royal Oak. You go there And what happens is you get through processed, you get access to a phone where you could call a lawyer, talk about your charges, what you're charged with. Then you go and speak to a JP, which is like a judge on a screen. And that judge will decide whether you should go to the actual jail, which is called the Calgary Remand Center, or you should be released from there, either or. But even if you're released, you're going to have, most likely, you're going to have conditions. And the conditions for your arrest, such as you cannot talk to this person, you cannot go to this location, that, and this and that. And if you breach those conditions, you go back to jail again. Okay? Does that make sense? Hopefully, none of you get arrested or have family members that have to deal with that. Okay, now it's time for questions. I'm at the end.
Yeah, I think we've got some questions for you. Demefo, maybe you go first. Can you unmute yourself, please?
Okay, there is one question I want to ask. You said police speak both language, English and French, but I went to police station many times for inquiry, and they were unable to answer me because they said they doesn't speak French. What should I do at that very moment? And also, if I have, let's say I have an incident or an accident, and my first language is French, I don't want to give my statement in English because I may say something that is not what really happened because it's not my first language. What will happen at that time? What will you do as a police officer? And what are my rights at that time?
For sure. Good questions, really good questions. So for the first one, in regarding the police station, so in regards to the Charter Rights and Freedoms, it's the languages that I was talking about was the Parliament. So in the Parliament building, they speak only English and French. Our two national languages are English and French, but majority of people in Alberta do not speak French. In Quebec, yes, people will speak French and English, and even in Ottawa, where I used to live, a lot of people will be bilingual. But here in Alberta, no, and it's not required to speak French here in Alberta. What I could tell you in regards to the statement, your second question, you could write the statement in all French. So what happens is we have people that will translate it in English, the exact statement. So you write it, you sign it in French, someone will translate it in English. Okay? Does that make sense?
Okay, it makes sense. So, if I understood what you said, if I'm in the police station, I'm unable to ask a question in French. I have maybe to write it down in Google and give to the police officer.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, so for instance, if you're writing a statement, you could ask, hey, can I write this in French? Yes, you could write it in French, and someone has to translate that. If you need a translator and say, for instance, hopefully, let's say this never happens, but a crime happens to you or something happens to you and you need a translator from the Calgary Police Service, we'll provide you with a translator.
If I have an emergency and I call the 911, they are asking right away what happened and I cannot speak English, what should I do that?
Well, if you're calling 911, I'll be honest with you, your English right now is very, very good. So I would go with the English that you have. But like let's say if it's more serious in nature and you want to describe certain things in certain words and you want a translator, you could ask the police officer, "Can I get a translator?" Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. And Oluwole, over to you to your questions. I think those are the two people with what.
Yes, please. Thank you, the moderator and the guest speaker for this. So I have this question.
and then I've had it for like almost 3 years now.
Okay.
So it's a good thing that this is happening. So I can ask. So this is a personal experience, and even then I felt that we were profiled. But right now that I know better, I am pretty sure that we were profiled. But I'm open to what you have to say about this. So in early 2021, we were new in Canada then. So I was taking a friend. We were doing parallel parking in a particular neighborhood, and then there's this officer with the van patrol at the other side of the road where we're doing the parallel parking. So she was coming on the opposite side. But the kind of person I am, I love law enforcement officers because I want to be one of them. I'm almost at the verge of being one of you guys. So I waved at her. I don't know what message that passed. So I just discovered that she turned and then she stayed behind the vehicle like a few meters away. She didn't do anything. So we were still doing our parallel parking. And then when we were done and we wanted to leave the curb, she just turned on the light. So I told that my brother, that, okay, don't worry, I'll handle this. And then she approached and she asked the question, what are you guys up to? I said, what do you mean? Are we in any trouble? Do we do anything wrong? Said, no, I'm just asking a question. I said, okay, as you can see, we're doing parallel parking. So he has a test in the next few minutes, so I'm just taking it through this. And she said that, can I have your driver's license? And then, we were new. Now I know that if you're not driving, you don't hand over your driver's license to anyone. So we handed our driver's license to the lady and she looked at it. She didn't go to her vehicle. I don't know. And she had handed it over to us and then she left. But I believe that if there is no Ebola or anything on the vehicle or suspicious activity, nobody should be stopped randomly like that. That's what I believe. So I want your input on this. Thank
For
you.
sure. For sure. No, 100%. Like, so for instance, two things I want to cover. So for instance, if you feel at any time someone is profiling you or has done wrong to you, we have a phone number. You could Google it, the Calgary Police professional standards. They'll have a contact or an email there as well. You could contact them at any time and just ask for that reg number. Remember, I was talking about the reg number. Ask and complain about that person and say, look, I don't like how I was treated. I don't know what to do with this, blah, blah, blah. And someone will get back to you. Someone will answer you. Okay. Someone will look into it and someone will answer you. In regards to certain things, this is what I think. And I talked to my chief about this as well. I'll be honest with you. What's going on in this world is this in policing. And this is the biggest thing that people don't understand. There's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. For instance, and I'm not making excuses or anything. What could have happened is this. Someone in the neighbor might have called and said, hey, there's two black guys that keep on driving by. Or there's people that are just keep parking in front of my house or this or that. And that officer actually got a call saying, hey, there's this call, there's this car, there's this. Okay. And that police officer might have already been looking for you guys as the vehicle. All right. And may had a call because they were nearby into that nature. I'm just saying, I'm not making any excuses or anything like that. But where I'm coming from is this. There's a lot of not transparency. Like, for instance, us officers, we don't do a lot of explanation on a lot of things. Like, hey, sir, I was here because I got a call from one of the neighbors here saying that there's people that were suspicious. I don't think you're suspicious, but again, That's the reason why I stopped you. If people had those conversations like that, I think our jobs would be a lot easier. But we have police officers that don't have conversations like that, that will maybe just take your ID, look at it and say, you know what? Okay, they seem like good people, and then leave. And then say, and then write down, yeah, checked on them, they're okay. And then not explain anything to you. And that's what we do a lot. We do a lot of not explaining, which makes it look like we are profiling and certain things to that nature. But again, if she was profiling, honestly, I would go with the first step. If you feel that she was profiling, I would say, you know what? I need to go through PSS. This person needs to understand that this is not right, that we should not be stopped just because. These things do happen. People do things like that. But also, I just want you to understand there's another perspective. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. But did she have the right to ask for my driver's license when I was not driving?
Oh, for you? No, you have the right to say, no, I'm not driving. Why would you need my driver's license?
Okay. Because she
Yeah.
asked for both of my driver's licenses, and at that time I didn't know much.
Oh, yes. In that case, because your friend would have got a ticket if you didn't give your driver's license. So what happens is your friend probably is a class 7, so she's trying to prove that he's sitting beside a class 5.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, he was actually having his test in another 30 minutes. So he had class 7 then. Yes.
Yeah. So if he has a class 7, so that your friend doesn't get a ticket, she's trying to confirm that you have a class 5, or else your friend is going to get a ticket for driving.
Okay.
Like if you were to say no, now that she's going to be like, okay, then your friend is going to get a ticket for driving with a class 7. Because how do I know that he's beside a class 5 driver? Because that's the rules, right? You have to be beside a class 5 driver.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. One more question just before I leave you, please. What was the percentage of black Calgary police officers? Do you know?
What was that? Sorry, I didn't hear your question.
The percentage of black police officers? Yeah.
I don't know. But I know one thing. I know it's improving big time. I know there's more and more people from Zimbabwe, people from South Sudan, people from different countries that are hired.
Okay. All right.
It's improving. When I got hired, you could count in it's probably like 7, 8 of us. There wasn't a lot, but that was 13 years ago. But now there's a lot more.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Chrissy, can you quickly go? Just 1 minute, please.
Constable, thank you so much for the work you're doing. I really respect your work. Police, you guys are at risk, like doing that work, and all power to you. We appreciate you. This question was actually years back. It's still stuck in my head. I didn't understand why that happened. So a friend of mine, I went to visit, and the child was like, I think less than 3, and picked her phone up playing and somehow dialed 911. And so when she noticed this, she actually hung up really quickly. But after 3 hours later, cops showed up in the house, and because she's new in the country, she was a little like frantic. Like she's, no, it's nothing. It's not. She wasn't violent. But then the cop took the handcuffs out, and I was confused because like there was no sign of threat. She was just freaking out because she didn't know what was going on. She was trying to tell the officer that there's nothing, like it's a child that dialed, it was the wrong dial, and he took that thing out. And yeah, since then I've been thinking about like why did he bring it out? Was it to threaten her to calm down, or is it the right way to go? Thank you.
Perfect. Sorry, I apologize. I don't want to sound rude or anything like that, but I cannot lie, but I don't know. Did you see firsthand, or was it through a third party? Like, was it
I was there.
Oh, you were there.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So what I'm confused about, this happened in Calgary?
No, in Fort McMurray.
Oh, Fort McMurray. Okay, okay, okay. Because in Calgary, what I could tell you is, and that's what confused me. Because
Mm,
in Calgary, what happens is a 911, if you call 911, we're there within 5 minutes.
mm,
Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's what
Okay.
confused me when you said that's
Okay.
what confused me when you said 3 hours.
Yeah.
Ito
Uh,
Mangori is
We
the
had even forgotten about
Aru
the
CMP ito Mangori. No, they are the Aru CMP, so that's why too.
Yeah, yeah. So
Ah,
our RCMP is a little different. Honestly, I don't know. Again, it goes back to if you feel wrongdoing, because to me that's that's craziness. Like
yeah, I was confused and it's still in my head.
when you're mentioning handcuffs and you're mentioning 3 hours, I thought it was Calgary. I was like, I don't think this is real,
Oh,
because in Calgary there's no way we would come 3 hours. Impossible.
mm,
So that's why I was like, I think your friend might be not telling you the truth, because there's no way that
no worries.
a 911 hang up, we're there within 5 minutes, no matter what.
Mm,
So
yeah.
so that's why I was like 3 hours. That's not Calgary, please. So in regards to Fort McMurray, honestly, I cannot speak for RCMP, and I don't know
Oh,
what they do. And what you were telling me, to me, that's very concerning. And someone with handcuffs out for a kid,
yeah.
that's shocking to me.
Not to the kid, but to the mother because she was being frantic. Like she's like, no, there's nothing wrong. Like that's how she wasn't trying to even get near the
Oh,
cop. She was just frantic. I think she was
oh,
freaking.
okay, okay. Yeah, yeah, okay. So she's probably frantic and they're trying to maybe calm her down. Because what happens is this. Okay, so let me tell you a story. And I don't want to scare you guys, okay? This is a real
Okay.
story. 2012, I was working. So the day before I was working, what happened is a 911 call comes in. All right. 911 call comes in. Officers get there. They check the house. They check the lady, talk to the lady. She says everything is great. Everybody says everything is great. We just called 911 because of India. So in India, as you know, their number is plus 911, and then they dial out, right?
Mm,
So that's why, and so we get a lot of those calls anyway. So it sounded believable. There was no injuries, no nothing. So the officers left. Okay.
mm.
About 8 hours later, I start my shift in the morning, and I get a call saying that there's a suspicious person at the Peter Lougheed, and there's an area that we need to check, and we need to read the information, the CAD information. So right away, me and my team, I said, "Oh, that's a homicide," and everyone thought it was a joke. No, it was a homicide. So I ended up going to the hospital. The first thing this guy tells me is he says, "I just murdered my wife." Okay,
Oh,
yeah. So he literally murdered his wife. So I chartered and cautioned him, and he told us where the body was. So he dragged her body throughout two big communities for about 15 minutes of dragging her body. Then he stepped on her neck and then he killed her, right? So she died. All right. This is the same guy that she called. So she apparently called 911 that day, but she was too afraid to tell the police.
mm,
You understand? So
mhm.
this stuff happens all the time, like we're domestics and things to that nature where people call 911. So whenever 911 is called, we take it very seriously. So for
Mm.
instance, this officer that probably going there, he's thinking maybe she's trying to hide something.
Oh, I see.
Do you understand?
Mm,
Maybe someone's hurt or her child is hurt in the next room and she's frantic, and
mm.
maybe I have to handcuff her to calm her down to check if someone is hurt. Because if he's to leave and someone dies, that's on him. He loses his
Oh,
job.
mm,
So these are perspectives that people don't see in reality. Things that we see as police,
mhm,
people
mhm,
would never believe that stuff, and the stuff we deal with, and how many times we get lied to, and all
mm.
these things. People don't understand. This is a daily thing that we go through. And And that's the thing that we don't understand. We never understand the other perspective. And good on you for asking, but I just want you to understand that we deal with some serious stuff to those natures, right?
Wow. Thank you so much, because for years this thing has been in my mind. I've had a very great experience with the cops. Like I don't have that fear, but that day when I saw that, it brought a question into my mind, that is it because she's new and she's Black? But thank you so much for being that.
Hopefully that gave you some size, in
Yeah.
light of why we do certain things, because
Oh, yeah.
honestly, that officer probably seen the same thing that I saw. Like
Mm.
people hurt their family members. They'll put them in closets. They'll kill them, and they'll put them in the closets, and they'll say, "Oh, everything's fine," and the house will look perfectly fine. And then we'll come a couple days later, we find out that the person was killed inside the house, and then right. So and then we look like we didn't do an investigation and things like that out of nature.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, and thank you for the people who organized this, because this has been very educative. Thank you so much, Constable.
So the last question would be coming from Dinga Fobete. That would be the last question for this session. Thank you, everyone. Dinga, you can go.
Hey, Fobete.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just to let you know, our event for December 1st is good to go.
December 2nd.
December 2nd, sorry.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. So there's a newcomer that came to my office a couple of years ago. So CPS undercover got the guy arrested. He was an innocent guy. He just came out from Walmart. He was having his lunch break. He got arrested, toasted. He had bruises, blood was coming out. And the guy was like, "Man, what's going on? Who are you?" He said, "You're under arrest." They did not even identify themselves. And normally, according to protocol, before you arrest somebody, you need to identify yourself, show your badge. So the guy was arrested, no badge, nothing. Until they had to call Walmart. The supervisor said, "This is his staff. He's sent on his short break." So how do you handle such a situation? And will CPS go punish for that? Thank you.
Perfect. No, great question. Again, this stuff happens a lot more often than people think, because we get information from witnesses. So for instance, if you were to call police right now and you described Fobete to the T and said, Fobete is wearing a black jacket, gray pants, and this and this and this, and you described him perfectly, and he was coming out of a store, and we as the police, we're looking for that person, and we go, "You're under arrest right away." This is the stuff that happens all the time. We get information saying this is the person that committed the crime. We arrest them. We figure out the whole story afterwards. So we figure out what this witness said, the video, who did what, witnesses afterwards. And when we know that we're wrong, we will apologize. We will say, this is the information we had at the time, and we will apologize, and we will reverse that, and we will release that person. And so sometimes what could happen is, if that person falsely called the police and wanted to make a false allegation, now they could get arrested for mischief, meaning they lied to us or obstructed us into our doing our job correctly. Okay? So this stuff happens a lot. If you look at a police officer, they have earplugs in their ear from the radio. We're hearing all conversations going on. This is the person, this is their description, this is that. Maybe someone's calling it in right away, and we're listening to that. And then we go by the information that we hear and we know, and we will put that investigation afterwards together after we made the arrest and figure out who's lying, who's not lying. But usually of course, we try to make sure we're correct. If we're getting information from a loss prevention officer saying this person stole, they're wearing this, they were just walking out right now, and we see them, we're going to believe that loss prevention officer. If a witness is saying this person stabbed me or this person hurt me, we're going to be that witness for the meantime until we figure everything out. But that's the information we had at the time. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in a case where, I mean, CPS meets this guy and just arrest the guy without even, because I know according to protocol, you need to show your badge and tell them the CPS you're under arrest because of these. But a case where you just arrest the guy without even showing your badge and they're undercover police.
Usually the undercover police guys will have their badge in a necklace like this, and it'll be here. Okay, so maybe they're wearing a jacket, they're saying you're under arrest, and they'll have it right here. But yes, you're 100% right. They have to identify themselves as the police. You cannot just arrest someone and then take them to a unmarked car. That's not what's supposed to happen. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Constable Hassan, and thank you everyone for your patience as we walk through this together. We are now at the end of the session, but I think there was a question that came in. So if you forgot your driver's license at home and you have a soft copy on your phone, Constable, will you let me go?
In regards to myself, honestly, the things are becoming more digitally, right? Like people are accepting more digital stuff. But driver license, no driver license, you would have to have hard copy. For me, I would give you that leeway if I was the officer that's stopping you. But for other officers, they would say, you know what, you need a hard copy. The only thing that you could get away with having online is your insurance documents, because some insurance companies do not give hard copy, which is a paper. They don't give hard copy anymore. So it'll be digital. So police officers know that. So you could show it through your phone saying, hey, look, I do have my insurance, this. But in regards to driver license and registration, those are two that are given by the province. You do need those ones in hand.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Constable Hassan, and everyone for being a part of this call this morning, now spilling into the afternoon. Thank you for your patience as we walked through the technology issues. We're now at the end of the session. Thank you again, Constable, for taking the time. It's been 2 hours. We've gone through this.
For sure.
I think maybe I'm just going to give an opportunity in case you have closing remarks for us, Constable. Then I'm going to hand over to the team at Ruth House to close the session for us. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you again. Thank you again for joining us for 2 hours. And I apologize for the technical difficulties. It was just not working. Video was not working for me. In regards to myself, my name is Abdi Hassan. I'm with the diversity unit. So I work with the community, and particularly the African community. If you need my details or contact information, I will leave. Dee and Elvis will have that information ahead of time. They could share that information with you. If you have any other questions privately or anything like that, you could call me or email me afterwards. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And over to the team at Ruth House. Elvis, do we have any closing remarks? Anything?
Yes, I just want to thank Constable Abdi. You know, we were supposed to have this session last month, and he wasn't around. And I also forgot to communicate with you, Temitope. I realized that you were the only one, like on the chat on online last month. So thank Constable Abdi, although he is so busy, and he was supposed to be only for 1 hour, and right now we are 2 hours and above. So thank you very much, Constable Abdi, and thank you everyone for being here this morning. We are entering the festivity period, so I know some of you were supposed to be doing shopping or being somewhere else, but you choose to honor us to be here. So thank you very much, and we want to say this was so informative, and because we have December coming, and we'll not be able to have any session in December because people will be so busy. And so I want to welcome you back again here in 2024, and that will be the last Saturday in January 27. So I hope to see you guys again, and there will be a very interesting topic, and we're working on that to have another panel member who is also from our community. So please stay tuned. More information will follow. Thank you very much. And I wish you guys a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year in advance.
Yes, you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, and bye.
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 Bye bye. Bye bye. X.